Red Bull watermelon, so good. Anyway, guys, new video here, and I normally try to make a video on this subject and then another video on this subject, or I talk about like Street Outlaws, the episode, the 405 in a video, and then No Prep Kings in a video, and try to keep my stuff organized somewhat. But this video right here, I have a lot of information, and I'm going to put it all in one video for you. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is Mega Cash Days. And there's a lot of upsets that has happened. The biggest thing that I've seen on the internet right now is, did Chief jump? Was it fair? Did Booster make the right call? That sort of thing. And the answer is yes. As bad as Chief didn't want it to happen, and he was saying it was a bump and that sort of thing, rules are rules. If it would have been the guy in the other lane and say Chief would have lost, but the other guy did the bump, Chief would have been saying yes, it was a jump. It was a jump. I don't think Boosted wanted to make that call. If you think about it, the main guys, MURDERNOVA, Brent Self, he's a up and come big time guy right now, and Chief, all three has jumped. Now, I do feel like there is a reason that this is happening. Most of them are used to Chief's flagging. Chief always has banged a light quick. He wants to get the guys off of the two-step and up off the converter as quick as possible. Boosted was taking an extra step or an extra, say, half a second. And I mean, that half a second seems like 10 minutes. So, most of the guys who has jumped has been within that half a second of what the difference would be between Chief flagging and Boosted flagging. So I think that is a lot to do with why they're jumping. But nevertheless, it is a jump. It's obvious it was a jump. The tires was wrinkling before the light come on. That means the driver had let off the button before the light come on. It doesn't matter on this type of racing whether there's forward movement or not. If you go to a racetrack, you can let off the button and tires start wrinkling before the green light comes on and still not be a red light, because the car has to make so much forward motion before the lasers make it a red light. So, it was a jump. Plain and simple. I hated to see it as much as anybody, but it was a jump. The next thing I'm going to talk about while we're talking about Mega Cash Days is Robin Roberts. And most people, his car's on the screen right now. Most people know who Robin Roberts is. If you don't, there's his car. He's the one who put Doc out, and you heard Doc say something about rich track guys shouldn't be there, or getting outrun by him, or he should have outrun him, or this or that. But if you watch the Boosted YouTube channel, Boosted GT, every Tuesday he has someone on the show. He's had Ryan Martin, Daddy Dave, Chief, Scott Taylor, the Azevedo guy who won his race, one big race, one of the biggest underdogs that we could have seen won, had him on there. He's had several people on there and has kind of done what the Chief and Sean podcast used to do, but it's Boosted GT doing it now. And when he had Chief on there, he was, let me just go back. When he had Chief on there, I highly suggest you go back and watch it. I highly suggest you watch them all. Every Tuesday he makes one, Tuesday evening. It's actually live streamed, but it ends up on YouTube just, to watch. So I highly, highly, highly suggest you watch it if you want some behind the scenes or extras or whatever. And when he had Chief on there, they was talking about the people who actually went out and tested. The elevation, the atmosphere, the air pressure, this sort of thing, the temperature, all that can be tested for, even if it's not the exact same road that you're racing on. You can still get a lot closer due to, elevation, all that, as you would if you just went into it blind. Even though they have a new, fresh track every week, the elevation doesn't change. And you're getting into, atmospheric pressure and this and that. There's so many things that people don't think about that goes into this. So there's a lot of things that they can check. But according to Chief, that a lot of people you wouldn't think would be testing, he called them out testing or seen them out testing, and a lot of people who should have been testing was at the motel room asleep. And You know, Robin Roberts being one of them. His Firebird, high voltage, beautiful car, apparently, you know, used to street race, big time track racer, and has come back since, you know, street racing has become popular again. Car is wicked fast, so nothing against the guy. He deserved to win. Doc was at motel room asleep. He was out beating the streets up illegally in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Won his race, deserved it. So go back and listen to some of the stuff Boosted, and from, you know, the next couple of weeks, I might refer to some of the stuff that Boosted talks about on his podcast, and I'm leaving a lot of stuff out because I'm encouraging you to go watch it. I might put a clip in here or there on my video of what happened, you know, or what Boosted said or what someone said on there, and, you know, to give you the encouragement to go watch it. But go check it out and see what you think. The next thing I'll talk about is in between the time that Birdman wrecked his Firebird and Birdman got his new beautiful 69 Camaro, he raced Boosted's car, his big tire car, and Boosted called him and told him to get in the driver's seat of something where he wouldn't be like Ricky Bobby, you know, the flames were out to get him, and he drove that car until he got his new car up and going. Most people have seen it. There's a picture of his new car on the screen. Beautiful 69 Camaro, big single turbo deal, same, you know, running gears what was in his other car, but just in a 69 Camaro. The next thing I want to talk about right quick is the new no prep cars. Several people has got new no prep cars or was building them at one time, don't know where they're at on it, and there's a lot of people who is going back to, or going to, whether they was there before or not, but going to a Procharger. And according to the rules of no prep, that you get 600 pounds off if you run a Procharger. So there is a huge advantage to running a Procharger. I feel like, you know, like Scott Taylor, Megalodon, I mentioned this in my last video, people like those have Procharger figured out. They're, you know, top contenders when they race. So that proves that Procharger can put you to the front. 600 pounds is a lot. You can lose that 600 pounds in places that you want instead of, you know, having to. 600 pounds is a lot. I mean, I don't know how to break it down any better for you than that. 600 pounds is a lot. Plus, you run zoomies. They say that zoomies give up to 400 pounds of downforce on the front of the car. So you're keeping the car down on the front between the zoomies and the weight of the Procharger and a 600 pound brake. Plus, Procharger cars have come so far. I read something the other day, and it was an interview Pat Musey did a long time ago talking about as long as people hadn't got the Procharger figured out, he was alright, but once people figured out the Procharger deal, everybody was in trouble. Well, it looks like people are figuring it out. And people like Ryan Martin, who is, you know, without a doubt, one of the fastest guys in no prep right now. Yeah, he may have enough money to keep his stuff in the front, but he himself has went Procharger. So, Daddy Dave went back to Procharger. There's just, Procharger seems to be the way of the future. And I see a lot of people going that way. Axeman, there's another one, Procharger to the front, according to him. So, even you see JJ, he has went Procharger on the car that burned, which was the car he had on the Mega Cash days. But I think Procharger is going to be the way of the future. That's just what I think. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I've said since the beginning a lot of this stuff is my opinion, but that's a fact. You can't argue that John Doe and Megalodon and Axeman and people like that aren't front runners on the show. You can't argue that. The last thing I want to talk about right quick is the original Street Outlaws 405 show. And right now, or you know, in TV world right now, the top three guys, all three are basically running the exact same car. Proline 481X, twin turbo, tube chassis cars. Monza, Daddy Dave, and Ryan Martin, all three the exact same 572 cubic inch Proline 481X with two precision turbos. It's basically all three are twins. The only difference are, you know, where their weight is, the weight distribution, other parts, but as far as running gear, they're the same. I don't know if their rear gears and transmission gears are exactly the same, but the power adders, power plant is exactly the same, if that tells you anything. I've heard people ask why Big Chief had a 481X LOL tag on the back of the Crow, and that's why. because he is notorious for outrunning 481Xs on the streets. Now, you put him on the track, you know, it doesn't always happen, but, you know, Proline makes a lot more than the 481X. Sean, MURDERNOVA's car, the new car, it's running a 482 cubic inch Proline motor. There's a lot of people running Proline stuff. It is just kind of like the go-to thing, but you're talking $100,000 for a 481X. So, you know, that's why the people who don't have one don't have one. But, you know, what do you think? Should all these cars be exactly the same, and is that why they're at the front, or is it the driver, or what do you personally think? And before I let you go on this one, I want your opinion on something. And I know I do this a lot, but I have been in contact with the Open Outlaw guys. I'll put a few videos and pictures on the screen right now of some of the cars and stuff. They're out of Tennessee. They travel around, have points. They run, you know, blown dragsters, pro mods. They do a little bracket racing, grudge racing, that sort of thing. I'm going to go and video for them this year, their season. Would you like to see it set up in more like a TV show with points and information every week on where they're doing, what they're doing, and that sort of thing? Or would you just like to see coverage of the races and that be it? It's going to happen, so I want to know the format you would like to see it as a viewer. I hope to gain some, you know, viewers from this, more local stuff, more down-to-earth, normal people, and I want to know your input before the season starts. So, that being said, put all your questions, comments, and stuff in the comment box below or email address that is on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. Godspeed, and I will see you in the next video.